What's going on, everyone? It's Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran. I wanted to come to you all and talk to you about local contracting. So really, I'm seeing a lot of people wanting to get started in government contracting, but you've heard mostly about federal, and maybe you don't know that there's a difference between federal and local. Federal contracting is like Department of Defense, Department of Interior, USDA, Army, Navy, all that good stuff. And then local contracting would be your municipality, like your state, your city, your county, and you may not know that those are two separate types of government contracting. So if you register in sam.gov, if some of you have started the process, some of you have even finished the process, that has nothing to do with the local side. There are a couple of agencies that kind of cross over when it comes to local and federal, like Department of Transportation, USDA, but for the purposes of this video, that doesn't really matter. Just want to give you some insight. So basically, local contracting is you providing the same type of service you would provide for the federal side, but you provide it for the local side. So if you are in janitorial, you can provide janitorial for the local side, for the school systems, for the universities, for state buildings, for courthouses. If you provide a product such as office supplies, then you can provide office supplies for the federal government, like Department of Defense, the Army, the Navy, or you can provide it for the school systems. You can provide it for the Department of Transportation, for example. You can provide the same stuff on the federal side that you can provide on the local side and vice versa. But most of the time, you'll find more contract opportunities on the local side. And I know for some of you all, that's like mind-blowing, because you may not have heard that, and most people only teach about federal contracting. And the great thing about local contracting is that you just register in that local area. You don't go through SAM at all, like no SAM. And what I'm finding is, people can really get started on the local side. Now, you can stay on the local side. My company, Foresight Industries, we pretty much live in the local type of contracting. I have local contracts. I'm here in Atlanta. I have local contracts in Philly. Actually, that's a corporate contract. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Local contract in the state of Delaware. Local contract in Knoxville, Tennessee. Local contracts, of course, throughout the whole metro Atlanta area and outside the metro Atlanta area. Throughout the state of Georgia, we've had local contracts in Florida. So really, you can do local contracting anywhere. It doesn't have to be the state that you're located in. And the registration is super easy. I mean, it may take a little while to get through multiple states, or if you want to do multiple states or multiple cities, but compared to sam.gov, local, as far as registration, is a breeze. Now, I will give the caveat, I will give the warning that a lot of people will say, local doesn't pay any money, local takes too long to pay, lowest irresponsible bidder. That's cool or whatever, and yeah, sometimes that's the case, but most of the time it's not. I've had my company for 7 years, and sometimes we've gotten like some deals where I was like, okay, maybe that was just like more for past performance, but it wasn't necessarily like the come up. But there's other ones that have definitely been a come up where I hired a subcontractor, didn't have to do anything, didn't touch the site, didn't have to pick up any litter, didn't have to clean anything. And my subcontractor executed everything, even within state in Georgia and outside of my state. So you can definitely still do subcontracting on the local side. I will say though, sometimes, just like on the federal side, well, it's a lot less strenuous. Let me say that. On the local side, it's a lot less strenuous when it comes to the agency scrutinizing your subcontractors, because sometimes they don't even ask who your subcontractor is going to be. And a lot of times, well, they might have a document in the solicitation that says who is your subcontractor going to be. But if you have an agreement with your subcontractor that you've already built a relationship with, hopefully, then they can just be your 1099 and just work under your umbrella for your company, even though they have their own company. Everyone does it. It's no problem, just as long as you are making sure that you have an agreement amongst each other. So with that, what I find on the local side is that those certifications on the local side, to me, are a lot better than the ones on the federal side. Yes, federal set-asides or certifications or whatever you want to call them, such as your woman-owned and your veteran-owned, service-disabled veteran-owned, and all those are extremely important. You should get them because they are free. And especially if you want to continue to pursue federal contracts, yes, absolutely get the certifications on the federal side. But there are also certifications on the local side. So on the local side, let's just do like a little comparison. I do have a whole video about certifications where I go into detail, and I'll leave the card up here somewhere. But really, there's on the federal side, there's veteran-owned, woman-owned, the 8A, HUBZone. So on the local side, that's where you'll see the disadvantage, like the DBE, that's a disadvantaged business enterprise, the MBE. So the MBE is tricky because that's also a corporate certification, but it's also some local agencies will designate an MBE certification, which is free when you're talking about local government. Then you have like the women-owned, you have the veteran-owned, and sometimes they combine those, where if I'm a Black female veteran, which obviously I am, they'll combine it into like a conglomerate type of certification. So it's Black female veteran certification. That's all together, and it's not, they said, oh, you're a veteran. Okay, we're gonna put it together in this one certification. It's complicated, and for the purpose of this video, that doesn't really matter. But also they have the local small business. So most cities and most counties will have a local certification, meaning you are registered in that city. So you are deemed as a local small business enterprise. And that is also a certification. And there are a lot of companies that are outside of that city or outside of that state, for that matter, larger companies that need to use a local small business or a woman-owned or whatever on the local side in order to do whatever contract they're trying to do. Let's say it's a large construction company and they're based out of Florida, but they're trying to do work in other states, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. And so me as a minority business or as a woman-owned business or a local business, I can get my local certification, and then they use my company, the larger company can use my company as, you know, a small business, and there's a percentage that they must sub the work out. So think about a large company needing they need to sub out 25% of their work. Let's say they have $1 million contract with the county and they need to subcontract out 25% of their work. Then they're going to be looking for a certified small business company on the local side. This has nothing to do with federal. Just please keep that in mind. Or it needs to be subbed out to a minority company. There are some agencies that are really, really serious about the minority certifications, and they make sure that the larger company, it doesn't even need to be a large company like a huge construction company. It could be just a larger company that's no longer a small business. It could be a medium-sized business, meaning they might make over 40 million or something like that. Or even some that make a little bit less than that, in the millions, and they need to, because they're not a local small business, they might need to use my certification or your certification in order to meet their goal that the agency, the county or the city has imposed on them to sub the work out. So it's really, like, to me, if I can be like biased, because my first few contracts were local. I've had several federal contracts, but really I'm finding that a lot of people are not going after the local opportunities because they just don't know. So all you would need to do to register locally is start with where you are. You know, like, just start. If you know that you're gonna stay in a particular state, at least for that period of time, just see, because this is all free. When you register, I think there may have been one or two agencies or one or two states I saw that you had to pay. Now, side note about paying for the website. Certain agencies, like I want to say, I don't know if it's like Miami, city of Miami, Florida or something. One of these cities or some of these cities and some of these states, they use a commercial portal like Bonfire or BidNet, where yes, you would have to pay if you just went to bidnet.com, right? If you just went to bidnetdirect.com, then you would have to pay. However, if whatever city you're in uses that system to put all of their contracts in, like all their solicitations are in there, that's what they use as a portal, then you wouldn't have to pay. So it's a little tricky. I probably need to do a video on how to like navigate around that. But generally speaking, you'll never have to pay for the local website to view solicitation. So all you need to do is Google, for example, City of Atlanta procurement, or you can Google doing business with the City of Atlanta. And usually the word supplier, doing business with, how to do business with, becoming a vendor, registered vendor. And usually you can navigate your way through. All the sites are not created equal, so there's no possible way for me to explain every single website in the whole United States. But if you start there and then you see, okay, they're asking for me to register with with the state or with the city or with the county or with the school system, because they may all have different systems, unfortunately, and you see that they have bid opportunities. A lot of times you'll see that verbiage as well. Bid opportunities available. Then it's like, okay, well, this is easy to find. And then you'll see also if there's any bids for what you do. Now, if you're like, Sheena, I've already registered with my state. I never see any opportunities for the state of Alabama. That's fine. You probably need to look at the city you're in. You probably need to look at the county you're in, even the school system that you're in, because depending on what you do, but maybe the state of Mississippi is not looking for education services. That wasn't a shot. That was just the first state that came to my mind. But maybe the city of Biloxi is looking for educational services. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you need to drill down. So start at the state level and then go down to the county, then go down to the city, go down to the school system, and then you might be able to find the actual services or products that you offer. It doesn't have to just always be the state per se. Start getting your feet wet at the local level is definitely the way to go. You can still try to do federal. You can still do federal. You can still win federal. I'm not bashing federal whatsoever. Federal has fed me, okay? But it's really for those who are just getting stuck at the registering with SAM.gov. You're like, hey, I've gotten so many, gazillions of comments and emails and well, I told y'all, don't call me. Do not call me. And don't text me either. But like, I've gotten that correspondence where it's like, I got my cage code, now what? Because you guys are not building your business yet. And I feel like on the local side, it kind of tells you exactly this is what you need. Compared to the federal side, it's almost like they feel like you need to know what you're doing, and you really kind of do, because there's just too many rules and regulations that a lot of people don't understand to just be jumping into federal and you don't know what to do after your cage code, respectfully. But if you do local, then you'll see all the documents that they're saying, oh, you need to have a resume. I never thought about having a resume, Sheena. Okay, boom, create your resume based on your company or based on you in your company, not your resume that you have from your job, but you as a CEO or president or founder of your company. That's your resume, your new resume, and whatever other type of resume they're looking for. If it's especially for say educational services or even any type of services where they're looking to have resumes, and you know, okay, I may not be able to bid on this one, but the next one I'm gonna need to make sure I have an engineer and have an engineer that I've already spoken to, so I can be able to obtain their resume. And when I submit this opportunity, then I already have it and I already know what I'm looking for, what I'm looking at. But that is a great way to kind of grow your business and put your business together by going the local route, because they just show you so many things that you're gonna need, whether you stay on the local side, whether you go to the corporate side or the federal side. Federal side gives you a lot. I feel like local gives you more, but it's a great way to get started and get your feet wet per se and get your business really like growing and scaling. And then you're directly connected to the agency. You can go to events where the agencies are, where the decision makers are right there. You won't really get that on the federal side. You might have an industry day, but they're not the decision makers. So it's a really, really great way to get your business really flowing, and you can have results, because it is frustrating when I registered in SAM, now what? And now you don't know what to do. So I wanted to share that the local side is definitely the way to start. You can stay, you can start and stay, you can start and go, start and grow, do all three like my company does. And even Sheenapreneur is going into on the educational side. There are actually like contracts for everything. So I'm gonna do another video about, the different types of cool contracts that I've found. But make sure you all check out the GovCon Moneymakers community. It is 100% free to join, and the link is in the description below. And if there's any videos that you want me to discuss further, please leave it in the comments, and I might be able to do a video about it, or I'll get an expert on the line in order to talk about it. And of course, my course teaches about federal contracting, local contracting, and corporate contracting. We are running a sale at the recording of this video. This is June 2024, so we're doing a little sale on the course for the 2.0 update. And I teach about federal, local, and corporate, and something for my veterans as well. So until next time, it's your favorite veteran.